beautiful souls, welcome back. I hope that you and your loved ones have come through the holiday season healthy, happy, and unscathed. And for those of you who are going through a tough time right now for whatever reason, I'm going to send you a virtual hug and hope that you get through it really, really quickly. Fingers crossed. And I'm rooting for you. By the time this video is posted, I would have posted another video of decks that I'm selling. So yes, there's another one. So I'm going to link it up here, somewhere up here, and in the description box below. So you can be sure to take a look at that, because there might be something that, you know, in that video that you've been looking for and you want to get it at a slightly better price than you can otherwise. There are a few that are already gone, but they are marked. I mark them as I receive payment for them, and there's some good ones left. And I will ask you, once you email me that you are interested in the deck, and once I give you my PayPal information, that you would kind of purchase it in a speedy manner, because I have other people inquiring about, you know, the same deck, and sometimes it's hard to navigate. So as soon as you can, as soon as you speak up about the deck, be sure that you're ready to also pay for it. And rest assured, there are going to be some more videos with some other decks that I'm going to give my viewers first dibs on. Now, I've put out quite a few of these videos selling my decks, and does that mean that I'm moving away from tarot, that I'm not going to use tarot anymore? And no, that is definitely not the case. What's happening here is more of a reset, restart, as we are now at the beginning of 2023. And it's the reason I decided to hop on today and just to have a little chat. Some of you may be feeling similar energies in wanting to redo, restart, rethink some of the things that you're doing. I definitely am. And one of those things is my tarot deck collecting, among other things. And in that video I just posted in reference to the ones where I'm selling my decks, the first part of the video, I take quite a long time explaining, you know, what I've discovered about myself, you know, these few years that I've been practicing tarot. And in that video, it mostly goes over, you know, the cardstock and what I like and what I tend to reach for, but there's some other things that are going on as well. For one thing, I have realized that I do not need as many decks as I have. Now, when I started my declutter or rehoming process, I had over 300 decks. Yes, it's a lot. Not as many as some may have who collect tarot decks, but it's quite a few. What I've come to realize for my practice and for my needs, I don't need anywhere near that number of decks. Now, from over 300, I'm going to be winnowing down. I'm thinking the number will be somewhere between 20 and 30, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. That remains to be seen. I am not a professional reader, and I've discovered that I really, really rarely use Oracle in my practice. I have my few that I do go to, and I go to them all the time. Even though it's fun and I've enjoyed mixing, you know, kind of matching an Oracle and tarot deck together, it's really not necessary for my practice, as I really don't use Oracle all that much. So the bulk of my Oracle decks have gone, and there's going to be more that are going. I know I'm just going to maybe be left with maybe 5 or 6. I don't know. We'll see. And I would like to do a separate video kind of going into the nitty-gritty of, you know, what I've discovered about myself working with the tarot, the Mormon thing. And yeah, I would just like to do maybe a shorter video just targeting that and where my practice is today, how I use the tarot, and kind of what it means to me these few years later since I've started my channel. My husband and I are kind of both at a stage where we're kind of re-examining what we're bringing into our home, what we're collecting, and and if we really need it. Now, I am a lot older than a lot of my viewers, and I can tell that from my demographics. I don't have that many viewers that are, you know, my age or a little bit older. There are a few, but really, the largest part of the demographic that watches this channel are a lot younger than I am. So you have to realize I'm kind of in a different place. I'm a senior citizen. I'm going to be turning 56 in a couple of months. And my kids, you know, my little chicks have left the nest. My youngest has just graduated college in December, and now he's got his first full-time job. So we are kind of re-examining our expenditures because we are very close to retirement, age-wise, but not really financially. So we've been reevaluating how we can make more mindful expenditures, how we can increase our retirement savings and make mindful purchases, and having those purchases be the ones that truly bring us joy and fulfillment. Things that we are going to use, that we are going to read, and not necessarily things that we just collect and that just sit there on a shelf. They have to have a purpose. And I know it's kind of macabre to think, but we're both thinking in terms of, you know, what if we were to die tomorrow? Or if I were to die tomorrow, I wouldn't want to leave my husband with all these decks to sift through and all this stuff. And I'm thinking this way in the way of my clothes, my books, and he's doing the same thing. You know, he collects vinyl, and actually he's been unloading a lot of his vinyl collection and narrowing it down to just his very favorites. So we are very much in sync. We're on a similar path with similar goals. I'll do another video kind of focusing on the deck collecting. Not really the deck collecting, but where I am in my practice and how I use the decks, and just really why I've discovered I really don't need over 300 decks. Again, if you love collecting decks and you love having all the new decks, you do you. It's great. You know, I had a lot of fun collecting these beautiful decks, getting to use them, getting to know them. But I am older. I'm at a different point in my life, and you know, priorities change and shift as time passes and as we get older. So before the end of the year, I was kind of thinking about 2023 and what I wanted to focus on, and I kind of narrowed it down to 3 words, and the 3 words are create, simplify, and appreciate. Now for 2023, I decided I want to spend a lot of time at my sewing machine. In 2023, I spent some money on clothing, you know, no luxury brands or anything like that. But the reason for that was because of, as you can see, my graying hair. You see all that? And I found that a lot of colors that I could carry off and could get away with, and that I liked when I had my natural, or dyed, it was dyed brown hair, but it was close to my natural color. I could get away with that, and now that my hair is, you know, it's lightening up, it's fading, I can't get away with certain colors, and actually a lot of colors that were in my wardrobe. So I've had to, you know, kind of pick some things, and I've had to move out some things that weren't really suiting me. And it's just, I'm going through this thing as trying to navigate my essence, my body, my appearance, my internal makeup as a senior citizen now. And the only thing I can compare it to is like years ago when I was going through adolescence. It's not that dissimilar. Again, I find myself experimenting with makeup, with color, with styles, trying to reevaluate what I like, what flatters me now that I'm postmenopausal. But brings me back to sewing. I think that my skills have gotten to a point where they've kind of stagnated. I've kind of just kept doing projects that I'm comfortable with, that I know that are within my skill set. And in 2023, I want to create items that are a little bit beyond my skill set now. I want to push myself and challenge myself that if I want something now, that I will have to make it. For instance, I want a camel colored coat. I don't have one. This year, I'm going to challenge myself to make a coat. I'm going to start with as simple a coat pattern that I can find, and then maybe move up to, you know, a more intricate design. I have some great options, you know. I think I may start with something like this. If you can see this. This coat is pretty simple. It's a cocoon shape. There's not going to be a lot of fitting, and there's no, you know, buttonholes or buttons. It's just, it does, the hardest thing in this is going to be, it has a little welt pocket, but you can leave, I could leave that off if I wanted to, but I think I'll challenge myself. I've never done a welt pocket before. But as far, there's not going to be a ton of, you know, fiddly fitting to do with this kind of coat. So I thought it would be a good one to start with. Then I have this gorgeous one, a little bit, it's kind of along the same thing, but it's got a more dramatic line. It's longer. This would be a great one. Again, this one by Simplicity, again, another great option. And, you know, I do need kind of like a gray black plaid or tweed coat that's totally classic, will go with everything. That's a really cute one. And this one's a little bit more fashiony, you know, with a little side tie. Yeah, I just kind of want to build my skills slowly and start with something simple and then build up. So in 2022, I spent some money and purchased some things. I think, you know, so I have something to wear. I've got some warm weather clothes, and I've got plenty of cold weather clothes, I think, you know, to tide me over, some good basics. So now I can just focus in on expanding my skills. And if there's something that I want, I'm going to sew it. A lot of people who sew go down the rabbit hole, and when there's a fabric sale, they'll just buy all kinds of fabric without really thinking of what they're going to really use that fabric for. So I'm going to be really mindful. I'm going to have a project in mind when I'm searching for fabric. And yeah, I'm not going to shop for more than 1 or 2 projects at a time. And then I'm not going to buy any more fabric until I've completed those projects. And also, to fit into the create category, I want to pick up other sewing skills. And I've started with one. I've started bag making, and I made a couple of bags, and I'll show you a little bit later in the video what I've done. It's a good way to use fabric scraps, learn another skill set. And I also want to pick up quilting, because quilting and bag making are great ways to use up scraps and to ensure that there's less waste. As far as creating, I also want to keep trying to improve my coloring skills, my adult coloring skills. I want to get back into mixed media work. I didn't do any in 2022, and I'm kind of sad about that. And also in the create category is this YouTube channel. All right, so I really, really need your input. This particular YouTube channel has been dying, and that's all my fault. I haven't really expanded from, you know, my normal deck unboxing videos, and I've been wondering, and I've been thinking about, what am I going to do with this channel, the future of this channel, because if I'm not purchasing decks, I'm not going to be doing a lot of deck unboxings, which has been the bulk of my content. I don't really feel confident in doing any kind of teaching as far as tarot. I'm still very much a student. So in essence, I really don't have anything to offer if I'm not doing deck unboxings, and I really personally don't feel I have anything to teach. I have nothing to offer. And for a YouTube channel, to get people to watch what you're putting out, your content has to be something that teaches, something that entertains, something that informs. And right now this channel is doing none of that. So I don't, I'm not surprised that it's dying. It's totally on me. I haven't expanded. So this is where your input comes in, and I would really, really, really like to hear your input. Now, I've been thinking of a couple of things that I could do with this channel. I have been feeling the urge to do other content, a lot of which is not related to tarot in particular. I've been feeling the urge to do some content that relates to getting older, to aging, to some life content where I might have something to offer some viewers. There's not a ton of YouTube creators in my age demographic, and the ones that there are, I find that I can't relate to them. Because when they talk about, if you look at the channels talking about aging, or style for women over 40, over 50, I'm not going to trash these ladies, but I'm just saying I can't relate to them because they come on camera and you can see that they've had some cosmetic work done, cosmetic enhancement. The clothing that they're showing you is just very, very pricey stuff. And a lot of it is aspirational for me, and I feel for the average woman who doesn't have a booked social calendar or booked itinerary, and who's not out in the workforce anymore. Now, as I said, a lot of my viewers are a lot younger than I am, but I'm wondering if you would be interested in certain topics about aging and just kind of hearing an average Jane, I don't know, reminisce about the hurdles of child rearing, things I wish I had done differently, what it's like to go through menopause realistically, a second adolescence. I don't know. I think the experience between adolescence and menopause, as far as what's happening with hormones and what happens to your body, and the fact that you're finding yourself again, I find that the experience, the experience is very, very similar. I'd like to offer some non-aspirational but relatable and real, maybe fashion content, real life insights. Again, things if I could turn back the clock, what I would do differently, things that I'm enjoying now as an older woman, the fun things about getting older. There are a few, believe it or not. I would like to share more of my hobbies, what I'm doing, maybe do some color alongs and let you know what I've discovered about coloring books and, colored pencils, share some things about starting a sewing hobby. I either want to turn this channel or start a whole new channel of anything goes. Whatever I'm in the mood for to talk about, that's what I'm going to be making a video on. I've felt a little bit stifled just doing having a tarot channel, which is even more pigeonholed into just doing deck unboxings, because I really don't feel confident in teaching anybody anything about the tarot. And the YouTube gurus, the advice they give you is, you really got to niche down. You got to niche down to have a successful channel. But I find it kind of stifling, and I don't know, maybe it's my Pisces nature, or my Piscean nature, because I have a lot of different interests and I want to share the different aspects that make this one small old person. If that makes sense. And maybe in doing so, I would create a channel that might be of value to some people. I would still have some tarot content here. I actually do have a couple of decks that are waiting to be unboxed. One deck I've had for months and months and months, and it's just sitting in my closet. And then I have one that I got earlier this week that's a new deck, a new release. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see those unboxings. I'd also like to know in the comments below if you've kind of been, you know, putting the reins in on your tarot deck collecting for whatever reason. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to see just kind of a more anything goes content on this channel, or if I should just start a completely new one. My intent as a creator has never been to have, you know, a viral video or a channel that goes viral. That's not going to happen with somebody like me. I like the talent, I like the personality, and actually I just don't want to hustle that much. But I do want to create some content that people would like to watch and may find valuable, and that will actually get some, you know, a good amount of views, because otherwise it's kind of just a waste of time. And I could be putting that energy into one of my other hobbies. Not a lot of people are going to see this video, so all your comments would be much appreciated as to what you think. Should I start another channel? Should I just remake this channel? Just be prepared to see some different kind of content on here, because I may start just experimenting, throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, since I already have this channel. Okay, that's enough of create. So my second word was simplify. So I've kind of already touched on that. Simplifying means I'm going to get my house in order. I'm not a hoarder, really, so to speak, but you know, I do have some things that can be cleared out. And I've been working on my sewing space. I've been working on my decks. And you know, that little bit that I've been able to move out, it just kind of feels like whoosh. It does feel really, really good to get to rehome, to actually move out things that maybe somebody else can find useful, that I'm not, you know, I'm not using it. So things that are in your home that you're not using, at least for me, it's just kind of like dead weight. It's like an anchor hanging around your neck. I'm in the process of refolding all my drawers. I'm rearranging all my clothing drawers, Marie Kondo style. And the drawers I've done, it's been really, really simple to, you know, get dressed in the morning, because I know exactly where everything is, exactly what I have. It's all in color family, or it's by category, and that's been fun to do. I'm not done yet, but it has been an eye-opening experience. So yes, I'm going to be simplifying my space, and I don't intend to get it all done in a week or in a month. I'm going to use this whole year and work on it, you know, either a room at a time, a category at a time. You know, there's no hurry, but yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to just simplifying my space, and in doing so, simplifying my life and my headspace. And while I'm simplifying my life, that takes me to the next category, to appreciate. Yeah, I just want to take the time and more time to appreciate what I have in my home. I want to appreciate the clothes that I already have. I want to appreciate the art supplies that I have. I want to appreciate the furniture I already have. It's all good enough. I want this year to be the year that I appreciate more of where I am right now and my journey, and not to beat myself up so much. Things could always be better, but things could always be worse. So I just really, really want to be thankful and appreciate what I have right now and where I am right now. and just appreciate the space I'm inhabiting. Before I make a purchase and, thinking as I'm scrolling on Instagram, because now the ads are popping up all over the place. Before something, before I click on that website to look at something, I want to take the time to just question myself, do I have something like that? Or something that can fit the bill? And just take the time to appreciate that thing if I do. In taking the time to appreciate what I already have, what I already own, who I already am, I think is going to slow down the trigger buy finger and is going to help me towards my goal of contributing to my retirement fund, padding the retirement fund, trying to get myself in a better place for retirement. I'm here to tell you the years they fly by. My husband and I are thinking he's going to work for another 10 years. In the next 10 years, it's really going to be our focus to pad that retirement fund. It's been neglected as we've been putting our kids through school. And because I don't want this video to be too long, it's another topic I would like to discuss on its own, maybe in a video, things I wish I would have done differently. We both have come to the conclusion that we really need to take a more mindful approach of how we spend our money, what we bring in, without totally eliminating things that are really going to truly bring us joy, and just spending on those things. Slowing down and knowing that you don't have to have everything right now. Saving up for something that you want. Taking a little time to evaluate if that thing is going to enhance your life, truly. That's kind of where I am, where, my husband is also. Okay, now for the fun stuff. I want to show you kind of my sewing space. So recently I got another sewing machine because I did want another sewing machine for bag making and quilting, something that does a really good straight stitch. I gave my son, now that he has he's got his first real job as a college graduate, but it's totally remote, and he needed a table, a desk for his computer setup. So I gave him my old sewing table because it's a nice deep IKEA table, but I wanted something a little longer so I could put all three of my machines assembly style. So I'm just going to show you my space so far. I've been kind of reconfiguring it. I want to show you the bag, or the bags that I've made, and kind of what I've been doing. So let's do that right now. Let's go. So we are entering in my sewing room. And just as we turn the corner here, oops, I just backed into something. I want to show you, this is largely where I keep my sewing books, some coloring books. Say hello to Grogu. And yeah, you can see the coloring books here, and some old sewing magazines down there. And then we are going to turn this way, and there's some IKEA storage where I keep sewing supplies. There's some patterns and some watercolor paints in that drawer. This little basket has some patterns that I want to make soon. And yes, the IKEA pegboard that all crafters have in some iteration or another. Yeah, inspiration, ideas, things I want to make. And we go down, and I have some more patterns here. These are the equivalent, of a mass market deck that's easily available. These are mass market patterns by the big four. Actually, it's like the big five. You know, it used to be McCall's, Simplicity, Vogue, Butterick, but now they're all owned by one company, I think. Not Simplicity. What is it? Vogue, McCall's, Butterick, and they started a new line. I can't remember what it's called, but and then over here in this rolling cart, I have indie patterns, which are a lot more expensive, but I keep those here. Now I'm gonna stand up, and over at the window, you see I get a lot of really good light. This is a new IKEA table that's longer and skinnier than the one I had before, because I wanted to put all three machines on one table. Now the one on the left here, this is a Juki. It's a standard sewing machine. It does everything. It sews wovens and knits, and it sews the most beautiful buttonholes. And you can see all the stitches. I don't know, it's over 200 stitches, you know, decorative stitches, which I use a few of them, you know, for fun, but you know, mostly I sew clothes. But now that I'm getting into quilting and bag making, that could change. But this is a Juki HCL DX7 if you're interested. Now this does have an extension table. You know, if I wanted to sew something like a coat or a dress, you really don't want your fabric hanging off the table, because it can stretch and get out of shape. So when I want to sew something really big, I'll put the extension table on the end right here. This slides out and you can put an extension table on. This is called a serger or overlocker, where you can finish, you know, put finishing details, finish edges so fabric doesn't unravel, and you can also cut off extra seam allowance. You know, you just add that little bit of professional finish to a garment, and it's really handy when sewing knits. When sewing knits, you don't have to use a regular sewing machine. You can just use this if you'd like. This is my newest machine. It's also a Juki. It's like a straight, it just does a straight stitch. It won't sew knits because it doesn't have a zigzag, you know, capability, but it's heavy duty. It's like a semi-industrial, I guess you could call it, but it only does a straight stitch, and it does it very, very well. And this is what I've been using to sew my first couple of bags, and I've been playing with tote bags, and I want to do quilting on this. For piecing, this would be great for piecing. It sews so beautifully. The straight stitch on this thing is just gorgeous. And I've got my threads, some threads here for my overlocker, regular threads, some fabric down here. And those magazines, there's some magazines down there that I've used for tearing out and doing some mixed media work. Yeah, so I keep those. They're just a hodgepodge of different magazines. And then up here I have some sewing supplies and patterns above my cutting table, as you can see. And here is my cutting table and what I'm working on right now. Let's see if I could get a good angle on this. I might have to stand on my chair. I am working on the Nico. This is a top and dress, a turtleneck topper dress by an independent pattern company called True Bias. And I couldn't find a turtleneck in the stores in this blue color, which I love and which suits me. Kind of a muted blue tone. So I found the fabric, and this fabric is a ribbed knit, and it's organic, 100% organic. And it's really, really, really nice. So I am making, see, you have a choice. You can make it sleeveless turtleneck top or with sleeves, and I'm doing with the sleeves. So this piece here is the sleeve. And I've gotten this far. Let's see, let me show you. I just finished attaching the neckline right here. You see that? And this line right here, this is the seam, and then I did a twin needle right here just to add a little bit of a professional finish. Next, I think tomorrow I'm going to attach the sleeves and then hem the sleeves and hem the top and sew it all together, and it'll be done. This kind of a sewing project doesn't take very long. But see, I put some stretch stabilizers, so when I fold this up, the bottom won't become, you know, kind of wavy stretched, which, you know, it happens with some ready-to-wear garments. And the other thing I did, if you look inside, let me take this off. In the seam, I put some elastic. So also the shoulders don't become droopy. They stay nice and crisp. And if you want to see the inside of the neckline, you can see that right here. This is what that serger overlocker does. That's the finishing it does. Right here, it just gives a little bit more professional finish right here. Right there. So I cut off excess seam allowance, and it looks nicer. But you totally don't need an overlocker to create a nice finish. You can do it with your sewing machine with the overcast stitch if it has it. Just having an overlocker makes it so much easier. So yeah, I think I'm gonna work on finishing this tomorrow. I think I can do that. But yeah, I couldn't find a turtleneck, and definitely not in this as nice material. It's thick, and yeah, I couldn't find anything in this color. So I found it online, and it's really, really nice fabric, and I'm really happy. Now the other thing on my table is this Joanna Basford's Christmas coloring book. Now I bought this a little bit before Christmas. I found it at Half Price Books, and you can see that's my testing page, but I started doing this, and I haven't finished it yet, and we're after Christmas. But see, I don't leave any of my coloring pages half done. I finish them before I move off onto another one. I don't like having, you know, unfinished projects. So even though it's not Christmas anymore, I'm going to finish this before I move on to another picture. If you're wondering, I'm using Faber-Castell Polychromos. These are the colors I'm using right now to do the leaves. I've also used these metallic gel pens by Color It. And these come with refills too. You could get these off of Amazon. But it's fun to add a little bit of pop to your pages if you get in, like I did this with a gel pen. If you want, for those of you who like to color. I'm not an expert. I'm still very much learning and experimenting, but I have grown, and maybe one day I'll do a video and I'll show you my meager early efforts and where I am now. It's not where I want to be, but you know, this is a fun hobby. It's relaxing. And whereas sewing, you know, you really have to concentrate. It's a relaxing hobby. You know, I can put on a podcast and whatever, but you also have to pay attention, or you can make a very sad mistake. Whereas, and then, you know, you've got the cost, kind of, there's, you know, kind of there's something at stake, you know, ruining your fabric that you've spent good money on. Whereas coloring, you know, you can fix a lot of mistakes, and you know, it's just paper. I'm not doing anything to sell or anything. It's just paper. So this is like a very relaxing, low stakes. The stakes there's a little bit higher stakes with sewing, but where really with coloring I like, because you can totally zone out and it's totally relaxing. You can really switch off your brain. So yeah, that's this is what I'm working on right now as well, as far as coloring. I'm going to finish that picture before I move on, and then I probably won't break this book out until next Christmas. I don't know. But I got this, yeah, I got it in mid-December, so otherwise there would have been more maybe more pictures colored in here, but yeah, it's a cute book. Now, I made this holly bag by Sally Tomato. I'm going to insert some pictures here, some footage here of how hers turned out. So I made this holly hobo bag by Sally Tomato, and I made it for my niece for Christmas, and it's made out of cork and regular canvas fabric. And this cork is a much more sustainable option than leather or vinyl. And you can see I love this beautiful musical print by Rifle Paper Company. My niece plays the piano, and I knew she would really enjoy this. And she does enjoy this. She loved it. On the inside of the bag, you can see I put in a metal snap closure, and also there's a zipper pocket. And yeah, I'm going to be making one for myself exactly like this because I have some leftover of the music fabric, and I had to reorder some more cork. It's kind of expensive. But my first bag that I ever made on my new machine was this by Clum House. This is the beautiful Ellie Lum. And this bag is made out of a waxed canvas, which kind of looks like leather. And then the straps are made from recycled leather. And I love this bag. It's a crossbody, it's adjustable, it's the perfect size for what I carry around. Look at those grommets. Yeah. And the zipper, I was kind of afraid, but it turned out great, perfect, did it right the first time. I had a little trouble with the inside of the grommets because the fabric on the inside, the lining slipped, but on the outside it looks straight. And it has an interior pocket, and I've been using this bag a lot because it goes with a lot of what I wear. And it's the perfect size. I usually don't use big bags. I am definitely a cross-body bag girl. Oh, and I made this tote again for my sister, experimenting with my new machine, just from a YouTube tutorial with contrasting fabrics. Again, this is a canvas on the outer, and it has a little pocket on the inside. Now, when I just got my newer sewing machine, I did some experimenting with tote bags, and I got this fabric from a place called Austin Creative Reuse, where people donate their unwanted fabrics, art supplies, sewing machines, and I got this fabric really cheap, and it is so cute. So I was just experimenting with this little tote bag. I think I found the pattern or the tutorial. It was a tutorial off of YouTube. But yeah, I just had fun, and I was experimenting, trying to get a feel for the machine itself. And so see, I've got bumblebee fabric in 2 colors, and then on the inside of this I lined it with yellow. So I did kind of like the reverse, put a little pocket in there. Yeah, just, a little shopping bag. Turned out pretty well, I have to say. I learned how to do boxed corners, so those lined up okay. Yeah, so I think I'm going to have a lot of fun learning how to do bags and totes, and the next thing is experimenting with quilting. You can see down here I keep a lot of journaling supplies, some pencil sets. These are Ohuhu markers, which are really good Copic dupes for a fraction of the price of Copics. You can get them off of Amazon. I have several sets, so I think I have all the colors. And yeah, I just keep my supplies in these wood crates, which I got from Half Price Books. And then we go up here, and you're going to see my ironing board. And this is like an essential tool. If you sew, you need to press your seams. But I have this IKEA bookcase. I don't know, I think it's the Billy. Sewing supplies are in there. And the pencil cases are my pencils. And maybe someday I'll show you what pencil sets I have. If you're interested, or if you're interested in picking up adult coloring, I would love to recommend some wonderful channels. Let me know in the comments below if you are interested. I'm just gonna open here. I've got some paper, which I like to print off coloring pages, PDFs that I get off at Etsy for, and because sometimes the coloring paper in some coloring books isn't the greatest. If you get some of the books off of Amazon, the cheaper coloring books printed on Amazon paper, it's not that good. But yeah, more serger thread. Those Huggies diaper wipes are good for mixed media work, for cleaning off your fingers. Got some bias tape. Yeah, goodies in here. And in here I got some paints for mixed media work, and you know, some of this Distress Oxide sprays. Yeah, fun. I definitely want to do some more mixed media work. Oh, that is it. I'm sorry, this is kind of a bit of a ramble. I never script anything. I would love to hear your thoughts about what I should do with this channel and what you would like to see. The biggest way you can help a small YouTuber is just to comment, or even if you don't want to comment, just hit that like button, because it pushes the content out to people who, you know, would otherwise not see. Yeah, it's that algorithm. You know, just hitting the like button really does help push out, you know, someone's videos out to a wider audience. So if you can do that, it would be much appreciated. And with that, I want to thank you for spending your time with me and let you get on with your beautiful day. Bye for now.